are you? And where are you going? What do you want?
Hello and welcome to People Making Money. I'm your host, Kevin Bemmel, and I'm here every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific time to talk about job hunting, starting and running a business, and building wealth. So the whole financial side of our lives. And today I'm pleased to welcome my guest, Anna Tran. Anna is I don't know if she would describe herself as this, but a personal branding consultant. Anna and I met recently. We had a really nice talk, and I thought, this is really something that most of us probably overlook, and probably to a certain extent overlook at our peril. So I know I'm particularly interested in hearing Anna's ideas on this topic. And I have to tell you, she's coming to us live from Japan, where it is 3 a.m. the following day. So, and look how, bright and bushy-tailed she looks. So she looks better than I do, but of course that's not so hard. But Anna, welcome to People Making Money. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Kevin. It's been a truly a pleasure just getting to connect with you and this opportunity just to go live with you. It's my first time on a live stream like this, so I'm excited to just provide as much value as I can.
Great. Well, so, on this particular show, I like to talk to my guests, at least for a few minutes, about how they ended up doing what they're doing. So I know for myself, well, so there were no such thing as, podcasts when I was, growing up as a little kid. But, I wanted to be first, I think it was a fireman and then an astronaut, that kind of thing. I mean, did you want to be, a personal branding consultant when you were, growing up? Or how did you end up in this field? Because it's not usually, I think, something that people think, oh, I want to be, a doctor when I grow up, that kind of thing. So tell us how you kind of your professional arc, if you will.
That is a really good one. And it's quite interesting because when I got out of high school, the first thing that I wanted to do right when I turned 19 was sell cell phones. And I had to be legal to help sign contracts, right? So I started in sales. I've been doing sales for over 16 years now, from everything from door to door to retail, full commission. And where I'm going with this is what I learned through all that experience is that you can't fake connection. Later, as I started working with agencies and marketing and business owners, what I saw was the same problem. Brilliant people building incredible things, but nobody knew who they were. And that's what led me to public relations. And I wanted to help people get seen for what they've built in an ethically and strategically purposeful way. And then I that's where I ended up in PR.
And so you have a firm with a partner, as I recall from looking over your website. So how did that relationship grow? Because I think a lot of people, when they're contemplating starting a business, so I'm a very close friend of mine right now. We're having a number of conversations on this, and I'm trying to explain to him that he doesn't have to be able to fill every role in the company in order to start a business, and that really a business is stronger when you have people with different skill sets involved. So how does that resonate with you and your experience in becoming a business owner and doing what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. The most important thing is not trying to spread yourself too thin, but also being able to double down on what you're you're really good at. And I had the uh, privilege to work with the right team. I'm a co-founder, right? So for years now, I know my business partner for almost a decade now, and we've been working together in different different businesses, failing, starting all over again. But each time we got better and better, and we were able to evolve into our individual roles. He handles the business consultancy side.
Mm-hmm.
I help with the public relations side, managing projects for clients, and yeah, just making sure that we understand what we're good at, but at the end of the day, we're all working towards one goal, and that alignment. It's like having, if two people are aligned, it's like having 11 people
Mm-hmm.
working.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned you've been with your business partner for a decade. How did you meet him or her? I think it's a him, right?
Yeah.
Um, and and how did you meet him and build that relationship? Because again, I don't think I people that's I think that's a hard thing for people to contemplate doing.
Yeah. So for us, it was a unique situation. My now husband, he actually introduced us because all throughout high school, we would always talk about ideas. Hey, what are we going to do coming out of high school? Any business ideas that we have, let's try to work on it together. And we
Mm-hmm.
always had that mindset, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he met our business partner. He met him through like a network marketing type of
Oh, okay.
opportunity,
Uh-huh.
and then that's how we all came together. And we tried it out, and it was just over the years trying new things that we encountered, whether it's marketing, sales, B2B. We were like the friend group. We developed this friendship around trial and error and trying to start new things and trying to solve problems in the market. And and over the years, like it didn't happen overnight, but it took longer than expected and many all-nighters. But now here we are, being able to have systems in place to help businesses scale, whether it's scaling their brand or scaling their profits. Um, that's how we got here. Just a lot of trial and error and friendship around that.
Right. Oh, and so that's what I picked up is it sounds like the people with whom you work, you you share common interests, common values,
Yes.
and as a result, you know, like you said, you've gone through this iterative process, but you've remained committed to working together because you felt like, I don't know, there was an affinity there was a team there that really that you felt sooner or later was going to kind of break through. Is
Yeah,
that?
absolutely. And along the way, we did lose friends. However, the ones
Mm.
that stayed together and kept trying,
Mhm.
uh, if I may, trauma bonding over failures.
I've never heard that term, but it really explains the trauma
Yeah,
bonding. Yeah.
over failures, and we're like, okay, it's gotta work someday, and here we are.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
Mhm.
So let's shift now a little bit and talk about um, what it is your company does. You mentioned PR, business consulting. So what are the kind of services in which your business gets involved, or that through which you help people? Why don't you talk about that, and then we can focus down on kind of your specific expertise.
Absolutely. So, for me, I'm the co-founder of the Level Up with Anna PR firm,
Hmm.
which is a branch of our consultancy firm.
Hmm.
And what we do for years now, we've helped entrepreneurs or leaders land top tier media coverage and build authority. But what really drives us, what really drives me in helping them is helping tell a meaningful story that aligns with their purpose and become visible in a way that honors their values.
Mhm.
And I view visibility not as an end goal, but a doorway to legacy. And a lot of the times, the people I meet with, they have been working behind the scenes for so long that they hit a ceiling where they understand that, okay, the next level is for me to scale my brand and be seen. How do I
Mhm.
do that in a way that doesn't come off, you know, unethically, or they want to be authentic, right? And
Mhm.
that's what we do.
And so you said, it's like, get exposure in top tier media outlets. So explain for us what that is.
Yeah.
'Cause like, again, when I was a kid, I guess that would have been being on, ABC, NBC, CBS. That was it, right? But I think it's more, I don't know, dispersed today, maybe, or.
It has evolved somewhat. Those media placements are also important. Nowadays, what a lot of people do before they invest or make a partnership with a brand, for example, the first thing they do is they look you up, or search you, and make sure that I'm investing in the right person, or I'm partnering with the right person. And that is where these types of online placements will really help build that credibility and having that third party validation on these platforms. So places like Success or Entrepreneur, Forbes, these are the big ones. But not only that, even local publications, online publications can help as well. The idea here is to be able to document your journey and have a footprint online that can help the end user or your target audience understand and build a relationship with you. Because with branding and public relations, it's a two-way conversation, right? Not like marketing where it's like a digital billboard. This is more of like a storytelling, but leveraging placements like this. So yeah, that's how it's evolved more on to help educate already, well, possibly qualified buyers, because these are high intent searches. So you're just helping them find you or
Mhm.
more information about you.
Got it. So you mentioned a couple of minutes ago, and you've actually used this word, I think already a few times, um, ethical, purpose driven. So I don't know if you can see the graphic behind me right here. This is the basis for my shows. It's called the Three Pillars of Attainment. If you go up here, the sort of blue triangle is the self pillar, and at the top of that, oops, at the very top,
Yeah.
it's hard to paint that in, is the identity realm. And I define identity as understanding our purpose and our mission, right? So purpose is knowing who we are. Mission is what we want to accomplish, kind of in the world, if you will, right? So I'm curious to know how you look at this idea of purpose, as it relates to the kind of storytelling and then the PR that supports that.
Yeah. So being able to align yourself with, okay, why are you trying to get coverage in the first place, right? You're trying to serve somebody, and businesses are in the market to serve, right? So what is the purpose of being on a specific platform to amplify your narrative? It's to attract those who you want to serve. So if you are doing it just for vanity metrics, people will end up seeing right through that later on. Even and it's not even just getting publications. Nowadays, you have social media, you have different platforms like TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Whatever you post on there, if you're not doing it with the right purpose or intentionally, then sooner or later people will be able to see through that because in a way you're speaking to your audience. So that's why I always mention, hey, let's realign this. What is the purpose of even posting this or writing it, having this sort of angle? Is it to just put yourself out there and highlight your wins? Or is it because you want to help others see that it is possible for them to achieve that as well, or to reach out to you and be confident to work with you? Like, are you doing a disservice to the market if you're not putting yourself out there? So yeah.
Okay. So in this case, it sounds like we're talking about the purpose for, excuse me,
Yeah.
the Saturday night party is still getting me. um, we're talking not necessarily our top line purpose, what what the French call raison d'être, but we're talking about the purpose of those actions that we're taking that support achieving that overall purpose and mission. Does that sound right?
Yeah, exactly. Because at the end of the day, what are you doing this for, right? Why are you showing up?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that makes sense. And two, then, and this is where I see the ethics side of it coming in, from your perspective, perhaps. And again, I'm curious to know how this strikes you, as someone who's helping people accomplish meeting their purpose. It would seem to me that you would want to know that so that you can set an attainable objective, as opposed to just sort of taking people's money and doing whatever, but there's not any real credible result, because there is no identifiable objective that you're seeking to achieve.
Exactly. So, I mean, if you, even if you have money, what I tell those I meet on my calls is, we have to, one, have the same values, can see your vision, and can stand behind your beliefs, because my team and I are representing you in the market, and we want to be aligned in all those areas. Even if they're not going to work with me, like whoever they hire, different PR team or marketing team, sales team, they all have to have those alignments. Otherwise, it's just not going to work, because how they want to tell their story, how they speak to the clients, it's going to be misaligned in their marketing, sales, articles, whatever they put out.
Okay. So what advice can you give people for figuring all that out? And or is that part of what you help them figure out, I guess? Because I'm I'm not I'm not sure everybody knows that.
Yeah, so that's what getting on like calls like this, being able to speak to a person and just get a feel of what it could be like working with a team that will represent you in the market would be like, and just understanding how to walk them through the process and manage expectations correctly, right? So, and then if it seems like a good fit, then we can go move forward with how to deliver what they want to be present, how they want to be presented in the market. Like, so the talking points is like, okay, are you trying to disrupt the market, trying to challenge what's out there already to get more visibility, or what story deserves to be heard? Second one is, are you connecting, making real connections? Are we trying to build connection through this article or placement between the leaders' values and their audience? Or number three is just inspire. Like, are we going to use visibility to drive transformation, not just impressions, but action that builds their legacy?
Gotcha. So it sounds like you really help guide people through this process of understanding how what you do will help them. Is that
Exactly. Yeah.
great?
Because in a way, public relations is like a superpower, right? So it's not Influence
It is
is
from my perspective because I can't do it.
you don't want to give it to the wrong person. You want to amplify the right voices, and you want to make sure that you're you're serving others the right way. Even the journalists that you're going to have their good intentions in mind, because they want to bring value to their readers as well, whoever's viewing their platform.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we're gonna take a break here for just under a minute, and we'll be back to talk some more about this.
Sounds good.
When life brings unexpected changes, managing inherited property shouldn't add to your stress. Magnum Properties specializes in probate and trust real estate management. We handle the complexities while you focus on what matters most. From property maintenance to tenant relations, from legal compliance to maximizing value, we're your trusted partner through every step. Magnum Properties, Inc., turning property challenges into peace of mind. Call us today at 213-264-4396 or visit magnumprops.com. So we're back here on People Making Money, and I'm your host, Kevin Bemmel. My guest is Anna Tran, and Anna really specializes in helping people. If you saw the title of today's show, go from invisible to influential. And we've been talking about some of the preparatory work, perhaps we would call it, to understand what is really the purpose for wanting to raise our visibility, raise our credibility in the marketplace. Why are we doing that? As a way of understanding whether the team we're going to work with, in this case, Anna's team, it is appropriate, whether our values are aligned, whether this is a good working situation. So Anna, let's say we've worked through that process now, and indeed, you and your group are, there is a match there. So how do things work from there? When I think of PR, I mean, again, my mind goes back to even movies from the 50s where, people are making personal appearances and that kind of thing, right? And it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of that anymore. So how does the process of bringing that higher profile to a client, how does that work? What do you and your team do? What does the client need to do? Because there's got to be a time commitment minimally, as well as an intellectual commitment.
Yeah, it really depends case by case on their online presence, because nowadays PR, it's digitized, right? So anything that's on their online profiles, for example, I could be meeting with a amazing business owner that's generating 2 to 4 million a month. However, on their social media, it's them fishing. Has nothing to do with their business or branding, right? So we take a deep dive on their profiles, making sure that it's all consistent, the message is aligned, and how they want to be presented in the market. It's consistent across the board. So that could take, a few weeks just to make sure that it's all consistent. And then from there, we build a media kit to start pitching, and just having the right framework when we do outreach for them, and start from there. The shift happens is when the visibility becomes a vehicle for service, not for self-promotion. So we want to align the real thought leaders and make sure that it's not about being famous, because a lot of people, the reason why they're afraid to put themselves out there is because they don't want to be seen in the wrong light. Like, hey, this is all for clout. So we help them overcome those type of fears, and make sure that the messaging is aligned with how they want to be presented, and then go from there. So all this, I would say at least 3 months, because you're building a relationship with the audience, and just 1 month or one article, it's it's like a drop in the bucket,
Mm-hmm.
right?
So, shoot, I had my question, and now it's dropped out of mine. Um, oh, so you mentioned okay. So first, kind of bringing uniformity or cohesion, maybe is a better word, to like across social media, website, all that kind of stuff. Okay, that certainly makes sense.
Mhm.
Uh, as I think about mine and think, I'm not sure I would get an A in that. You know? And then then you said you build a media kit. So um, what for our audience, what is a media kit, and of what does it consist?
Yeah, so the best way I could put a media kit is for like a one sheeter, because if you imagine journalists, hosts like yourself receive emails on a daily basis. So how do we eat the complexity for somebody like you to pick up a story or have a guest on here? So that's where we put in a short bio, a photo, and a few links to their previous uh, coverage, press coverage, and a few of their key topics that they would be able to, that they want to speak about or deliver value on. And then that kind of gives the journalist or yourself an idea of what it's like to have them featured
Hmm.
and then go from there. So
Got it.
something quick and simple.
Got it. Okay, so it sounds like what maybe used to be called almost like a press release.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Something like that, because we can include press releases, like links to press releases on there.
Oh,
So
okay. Okay.
have everything in one page. I don't even want to say this, but kind of like a resume, but a profile sheet.
Profile. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So now that makes sense. Okay, because I'm thinking press release, but yeah, of course, a press release is for very specific thing that's happening, and we're talking about a person. Presumably, there's multiple things happening for them. So, okay, so we've optimized online presence. Media Kit is built. So, um, what should one expect working with a firm like yours? And the reason I ask that is because I I I think my perception, and I don't deal in PR. I deal in I administrate trusts and estates, and do some business consulting. It seems like managing my clients' expectations is one of the most difficult things I do on a day-to-day basis, right? To not let them get what they're expecting to happen run way out in front of anything that can be delivered.
Mm.
So, you know, what should someone who's working with a PR firm, what should they expect to happen in terms of results, and what would those results be?
Yeah, absolutely. So at the end of everything, they can expect to have coverage on what they're doing, and links, anything that's online, like it'll have backlinks to boost their searchability online. If somebody Googles you, if somebody does a GPT search on you, these are places, credible places that Google and, AI search engines will pull for to confirm information about you. So whatever they pull up, they can expect their audience or potential clients, partners to find about them as well. So the three steps is step one, just clarifying their core message. Like, what do you want to be remembered for?
Hmm.
Second step is show up consistently across social media platforms with that message. And then third step is using the visibility that we created together on these platforms to create impact, whether it's mentorship or education or their consulting services. Like the thought leader without impact is just influence on mute. So how do we leverage that afterwards?
Gotcha. Okay. And you know, as the as the people as people start to see the individual coming up in searches and that sort of thing. So, I mean, is the goal to get sort of media appearances, to opportunities to write articles, or you know, aside from you know having a raised profile, if we call it that, how will the person's activities be different? Does that, I don't know if that, I don't know if I'm making that question understood.
No, I hear you. I hear you. So, for example, Kevin, let's just say I'm looking for a business consultant, and I do a quick search for qualified consultants online who can potentially solve my problem. If I see two different people, one with more press and just articles just confirming the results that they can bring, and the other one with just maybe a LinkedIn profile, the one with more credibility and third party validation will have 42% favorability in the market compared to the one that doesn't. So it's kind of giving the person who is potentially a qualified buyer generate more attention towards you compared to the other.
Okay, so then really the end result of your work is the person will be doing more of whatever it is they're doing, I guess. So if they're a
Yeah.
business consultant, they'll be getting more business consulting clients. If they're a writer, they'll be writing more articles, or is that?
Yeah, well, more like standing out, because nowadays there's quite a bit. Like if you were to search, there are pages on pages of other service providers, right? How do you stand out from all the other people in your field? And what sets you apart, right? What do you want people to know about you or your business that is different from the others, right? And it's not easy to get coverage nowadays, although people can pay for it. If your message is aligned and you are present the right way, it builds a lasting relationship online with people, and people can trust you. And I've worked with consultants who people will just call him now because his profile's refined and he's in these credible places and he continues to deliver results. I'm not saying you'll get a bunch of leads right away. It's more foundational work so that when you do run marketing ads or paid ads, the press, the coverage that you have will lower that barrier of entry for people to trust you compared to others.
Oh, okay. Got it. When you mentioned you can pay for, so I got contacted, I think it was maybe a week or two ago, by this fellow who, um, I somehow he had found out I had written a book a while back, and he wanted to know if I was interested in writing another book, and he said I think it was like 4 Forbes, right? And I'm thinking, yeah, of course I'd like to write a book for Forbes, right? I mean, and I know someone who, was asked to write a book for Forbes because she happens to be one of the most knowledgeable people in her field, right? So I called the fellow back, and he's, asking me the questions, this or that, and then he starts saying, well, so here's how the program works, right? And it's $30,000 to write a book at this level, and it's 100,000 at this level, and if you want to write a book for Forbes, well, that's not guaranteed, but you apply, and if you're accepted, it's like $500,000 or what. I mean, I don't know if I'm quoting the figures right, but I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking like, I think I'm paying an awful lot of money for, I'm not exactly sure what I'm getting, because it's just, in the end, it's just one book.
Mm.
So it sounds like what you're doing. That's why when you said the word foundational, so that sounds to me like, you're building up a foundation. So if I was down here before in terms of people being able to find me and trust me, now I'm up here.
Yeah, exactly. And so for what you encountered, I'm not entirely sure on the book writing side,
Hmm.
but it sounds like uh, sometimes that's usually the case with agencies because they pitch you, but they can't guarantee the outcome, right? So for me, going back to managing expectations and why it's important to have third party validation and media coverage is that you it won't drive traffic like marketing.
Hmm.
However, it drives interest. And these are places where the person can confirm, okay, I've read them here, here, and here. They're all different sources confirming the same thing. So you have more favorability in that aspect, right?
Hmm.
That's the foundation compared to something that is possibly just Google reviews, for example. Okay, if you're trying to sell something that's $20,000, just Google reviews can help. But if you have other confirmation, credible sources confirming what you do, the results you can provide, then how would you feel if you're comparing, right? Yeah.
Right, right, right. So who should be thinking about the kind of services that your firm and firms like it provide? What stage in their careers should they be at? How does somebody know if it's the right time to engage a PR firm like yours?
Yeah, there are different stages. A lot of the times, people feel like they're not ready for it. I always say that a good indicator to know when you're ready for public relations is if you don't have a, a huge audience. As long as you are delivering results, people need to know about you. Like if you feel that there are other businesses out there that can't deliver what you're able to deliver at that caliber, then you need to be out there because
Hmm.
you can be helping others on a higher level. So that's what I always advise. Even if some people have imposter syndrome, like, hey, am I ready to be covered on these platforms? And you'd be surprised because if we give the right person that platform, the
Hmm.
superpower,
Hmm.
they can help others the right way. Because there's a lot of people making claims nowadays that are helping people, but not to the level of what a really good, deserving business owner can,
Hmm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, it is interesting what you just said about imposter syndrome because I think a, I think most of us have a tendency to either underrate what we do or overrate what we do. And someone who's overrating, well, they probably don't need it. Don't need PR because they're so, whatever. But I think for most of us, you know, we don't really see the full value of what we do. And so the idea of, going out there and putting ourselves on display, our flawed selves on display, could be, a little unnerving.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if you know what your purpose is, if you are in business to serve others, and and you are looking to scale your brand properly, then overcoming that is simple. It's it's knowing that you're building a relationship, a long-term relationship with somebody that could benefit or that will benefit if they know you. So it's not going to take one date to build a relationship. It takes a few months time. And you're showing up every day. You're showing up consistently, whether it's posting on Instagram, any value posts, and then confirming it through a media coverage. Now, all of this, you're making a lasting relationship, and confirming with your audience that you are the right person to work with.
I have to. It's really great talking to you, and at the risk of sounding a little patronizing, because you're quite a bit younger than me, calculating your age based on what you told me, high school and whatever, and um, to hear you talking about how so much about how integrity undergirds what you do and what you want your clients to be doing. And to for oftentimes, I try and distill from a guest what is really the core message that they're bringing. And uh, you reflect really well on that aspect, because I was having a conversation with a close friend yesterday about how it seems like that aspect has just been bleached out of business over the time that he and I have both been engaged in our professional work. And so much of what you're saying seems to be about reigniting that aspect of business, back into the business world. So it's a very heartening message for me to hear.
I appreciate that, Kevin. I totally know where you're coming from as well. I know I look young, but you'd be surprised. So, but yeah, like in business, the biggest thing is your reputation, right? How you're managing expectations ties to your reputation, how you're managing relationships, how you're showing up, all these things. Like it's who you are, right?
Mhm.
So that's why it's very important to be, I would say, intentional with how you show up and how you want to, who you want to work with, and how you want to tell your story. And it's unfortunate. I'm not downplaying uh, agencies or businesses out there. However, I've experienced, working with businesses that make promises, whether it's marketing or other PR agencies in the past, where they don't manage expectations properly, and you could be waiting years for the results that was promised, within 3 months, kind of thing, and it's unrealistic. So that's why it's important.
So I think that's a kind of a great summary, because which I was gonna ask you. So kind of what summarize for us, what you want people to take away, and it seems like that's the message. So I was Anna and I were speaking before we went live, and I was telling her that my guests typically are too humble to make a plug for their businesses. And so, for those of you who watch the show regularly, this is the time for the shameless plug. You know, but in this case, there's no I mean, you can see the kind of integrity that Anna brings to her work. She's absolutely um, coherent, and that's not the exact right word I'm looking, but you can see that that's what undergirds her work. And I think for someone in a business where oftentimes the results or working with them, you're kind of taking it on faith that there will be a beneficial result to that. Integrity has to undergird the professional relationship, and so I would encourage you. I'll put Anna's website URL and her LinkedIn a link to her LinkedIn profile in the show notes, so that you can contact Anna, talk to her, and perhaps she can help you take your career, to the next level. Because I think that's really what it's about. And the other thing I would focus on is how she talked about service. It almost sounds like you were former military, which, as far as I know, you've never been in the military. But people coming out of the military, that's so much of what military service, being in the military, is about, is serving, our countries, whatever. But that is what business is about. We're about serving other people. Okay?
Hmm.
We make money as a byproduct of serving other people. For those of you who know a man named Zig Ziglar, who he passed away a number of years ago, but Zig Ziglar always said that it's how we serve those who serve the most people. They're the ones that make the most money. It's not the other way around.
Even the
So
Son of God came to serve.
there you go, right? So from the military chaplain, right? So, and you can see right down here, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You're talking my language. But right, this is what we're here to do as human beings. We're here to serve each other, help each other advance our lives, and that's clearly central to what Anna and her team work to do for their clients. And so I unqualifiedly recommend that you get in touch with Anna, and see if that's a good match for you. So before signing off, Anna, any sort of concluding thoughts you want to share?
Yeah, so just 3 quick takeaways for the audience. So, number 1 is be audience focused. So, if you want to get any type of coverage, great PR starts with empathy, not ego. Number 2 is prepare your foundation. So, don't chase coverage until your message and digital presence is aligned and you're ready. And lastly, leverage every win. Media coverage can build massive momentum when repurposed strategically.
Excellent. Well, Anna, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I really appreciate it. And we'll have to have you come back and talk some more about this, because I'm sure there's a lot more we could we could dig into. So
I would love that.
great. So thank you for joining us. We've had a number of live viewers kind of coming on, and it's always nice to know you're out there. Real quickly, wrapping up, tomorrow at 5 p.m. is my show Jiggers' Place. We're going to have a cocktail and a schmooze as we head in toward the end of the week. So I hope you'll join me for that. And then, of course, next week, I'll be back with the full regular slate of the various Way to Wow shows. So hopefully we'll see you again soon.
Mhm.
And in the meantime, again, Anna, thanks so much. Check her out, folks. This is someone who will help you. And signing off, as I always do, Marie, darling, you are my belle. Courage at all times, my